It is the show defined by what it isn't. It's not in ShawScope. Oh, right. Sorry.
That means not.
Yes.
Yeah,
No,
yeah,
I
means
no. With me, and I was supposed to be recording a different show, and I got confused because that happens sometimes.
No. We're all good.
Darn it! One day we'll do a smooth open. One day.
Today is not that day.
No, clearly not. But today is the day for some more further Golden Lotus chat of sorts. So we got 3 more Golden Lotus stroke Amorous Lotus pan adjacent non-Shaw Brothers films to discuss. So let's just jump in then, because we're kind of short of time today. So we'll begin with the notorious Concubines, or Kim Pei Bai from 1968. I guess Kim Pei Bai is the Japanese transliteration of Jingping Mei, or Amorous Lotus Pan, because this is a Japanese production directed by none other than the prolific pink pioneer Koji Wakamatsu.
No, he didn't make pink films, surely. Not from watching this.
Well, you jest, Darren, and most amusingly too, might I add. But this is kind of a little bit of an outlier, I would say. This is not particularly representative of what he was up to, especially at this time, right? Because all his other films from around this time, they're all, well, they're usually urban, right, as opposed to, and modern as opposed to historical. They're in black and white. They're very kind of claustrophobic, kind of psychological sex pictures, like Go-Go Second Time Virgin and stuff like that. So this it's not a very representative Koji Wakamatsu film, I don't think.
It's his first film in color as well.
Yeah, and yes, put out by his Unicorn Film, which as far as I can tell, is the only time he's ever used this production company for anything. And also not extant in its original Japanese form.
Yeah, that's very bizarre that you have to watch it dubbed. But
there's a few pink films from this period, from the 60s, where a lot of the stuff's missing, unfortunately, just lost to the sands of time, it seems. But the ones that do exist seem to exist in their export versions, right? So we can see Notorious Concubines thanks to Harry Novak's Box Office International. So we will be watching the English dubbed version, which is out there. 78 minutes long. I have no idea if it differs at all. I haven't read anything to say that the original version was longer. This seems kind of complete, and it runs about the time that a Wakamatsu Koji film of the era would have run. So I'm going to assume it's, totally unbanned.
Yeah, I would say so too. I didn't notice anything that was glaringly, Yeah, there was some pube fogging, which was always, you can tell, the made in Japan element.
Yeah.
That.
Although I only noticed that one time, right near the end, where he's doing the kind of shotgun rape.
There was a scene where there was a girl rolling around on the floor, and that was where I noticed it.
Yeah, that's it. Where there's a big black bath in the middle, and raping various girls at the same time.
But I don't think there wasn't any other full frontal in the movie, was there?
No, I don't think so.
No, it's quite strategically done.
Yeah. No, but fair play to him. He's managed to, up until that point, there's a lot of nudity in it, and he's managed to avoid,
I was
any
a master of it at this point, I think.
Yeah.
Right. Because he probably made 25 films the previous year or something.
Yeah, fair play.
Being a Wakamatsu Koji completist is quite hard work, and not actually possible, because a lot of them are missing as well anyway. But and very, I don't know, I've seen a few of his stuff now. It's taken me a while to appreciate, because some of them are quite difficult to get your head around. Extremely pretentious, some of them, and then other ones are pretty wild. And also it's that weird. Me and Nick talked about this before somewhere else for some reason. I can't remember why, but it's that weird time and place where sex films, exploitative sex films, are somehow part and parcel of the student movement as well. So they're kind of vaguely anti-authoritarian or even like anarchist or something, but at the same time pretty much aimed at dirty old men.
Things
want
like
to see nubile young terrorists taking their clothes off. So it's
a lot of the Suzuki, like the Norifumi Suzuki films, have that kind of thing going on, like the terrifying girls' schools series. All of this kind of
but I think they're
the authoritarian bent.
I think they're a bit more flat out, just cynical though in a way, right? Like or genuinely anarchic in a way, like and commercial through and through. I get the feeling with Wakamatsu Koji, he was like a bit more serious about maybe taking down the government with sex films.
I mean, he's in this one. I mean, he's definitely trying something. He's definitely with the whole there's kind of the Wusong kind of subversion of Wusong and all this imagery with the hands sticking up
that's great stuff. It's very like it also has a bit like obviously it has that Chambara stuff going on, but it also has a very spaghetti western feel to me.
Absolutely.
I'm sorry, but it does, Clive.
I concur.
Yeah, all that howling wind, and in fact, there's even a scene quite near the beginning that's very like where somebody gets their ear cut off, and I was like, oh, this is very Django.
Well, the other thing it reminded me of as well, because it's going for sort of mini historical epic on a budget, it reminded me the sparseness of some of the kind of interior. It's almost abstract at point. It's so sparse. It reminded me of the cheaper peplums, where people just wearing some Legionnaires. They just walk into a room and it's just like bare or something, but it's got like a pool in the middle. And
although I don't think, although you don't, it doesn't look cheap.
No, it doesn't look cheap, but you can tell.
Doesn't look cheap.
Yeah. It's used to its advantage. Like I said, it is almost abstract in a way.
Well, there's a beautiful thing out in the wilderness somewhere that they kind of come back to a few times, and it's just this like, it's this gorgeous kind of hulking nothing. Like it would be nice to see a HD and to have it restored to this original Japanese soundtrack and everything. And so it is the Golden Lotus story again. More pretty faithful, actually, for the most part.
It's funny, even though it's not in the least bit confusing, and if you didn't know anything about Golden Lotus and you were just watching the film straight up, you wouldn't be confused. But at the same time, I think it seems to be made with a certain familiarity with the source material taken for granted, doesn't it? I think.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, she definitely gives in faster in this version than anyone I've seen so far to Ximen Qing or whatever his name is. Like there's no pushback at all. Right away, she's in bed with him, and she also kills her husband with no regrets. There's no.
Well, and also in like the first 15 minutes of the film, it's just it's another speed run, isn't it? Through Golden Lotus, just to get to whatever the hell he's trying to do with
exactly
Wusong, pretty much.
Like you are saying, Darren, it's a stripped down kind of. Clearly, he's almost hijacking it for his own agenda, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
This is Tomoko Mayama who plays Lotus Pan. Bears a striking resemblance, I thought, to the model Koyuki from The Last Samurai. I thought she looked a lot like.
Okay, I haven't seen that in so long.
Yeah, she got that kind of look. So speaking of, so Wu's song was played by someone I don't think I've ever seen isn't in anything else as far as I could tell. But then the other big credit is playing Spunk Boy is Juzo Itami, right? Who was a son of Mansaru Itami, I think was his father was a maker of like Jidaigeki period films in the pre-war era, and Juzo Itami, of course, later became. I think his star was already on the ascension at this time. I think he'd been in some international productions, and then became very famous, and then became very, very famous as a director, right, of things like Tapestry and The Funeral, and then, of course,
got murdered, right?
Well, officially committed suicide, right? But
but was thrown out of a window by some yakuza.
Well, that's what some people say. Officially, he jumped off a building, right? When an affair he was having was uncovered or something. But yeah, some people seem to think he was lobbed off a roof because he made that film that made fun of the yakuza.
Yeah,
which I remember being extremely disappointed when I eventually saw it.
Yeah,
I was
so not worth getting thrown off the building for.
No. It's like, it's a savage satire on the world of, money lending, and it's fucking Carry On Yakuza, as far as I can tell. It's very broad. Yeah, there we go. Someone's been reading Kenneth Williams' biography.
Yep.
Your face has turned. You've been reading it.
I'm planning to do that entire episode of Literary Spec.
You'll have a face ache, but that's his great.
I will.
Yeah,
that's pretty good, actually, Nick.
Not bad.
I haven't seen that. That's not bad.
We may have to start referring to you as that rubber-faced irritant, Nick.
I was, it's when they put poor Wu-Da in his coffin. It has a little window in it, which I thought was nice. I don't know that I've seen before.
No, that was lovely. Yeah. I suppose as well, we want to talk about kind of the framing device of the film as well. So this, although, Clive, I think you've read ahead more than we have, but I haven't read Heroes of the Marsh or any of the source material around this thing. But presumably, this diverges from the story of Wu Song from Heroes of the Marsh, presumably, especially at the end. But this kind of starts off, doesn't it? So the whole film kind of starts off with this kind of hermit kind of fella.
Yeah,
this
quite like
him. Yeah, he's cool. Just wandering into this kind of wasteland where someone's being tortured. And then he gets captured by bandits and then gets told or kind of remembers the story of Wu Song, Lotus Pan, Ximen, and that whole business. And then it kind of 2/3 of the way through, it turns into Wu Song, spoilers, becoming the bandit leader that's creating all this anarchy around the around the countryside. So that's kind of the framing device, isn't it?
Right. It's funny too. They mentioned that, like, in all the previous versions, they've mentioned that he fought a tiger, but in this one, they're like he fought like a tiger. It's a description of like his fighting style as opposed to like an actual big cat.
He definitely did fight the tiger with his bare hands, though. The real Wu Song.
Yes.
He definitely did.
Yes.
Yeah.
I did like a part where a bunch of people shouted, "Give us your load," and it turned out to be a very salty load.
Mine is, to be fair. Apparently, pineapple helps.
Yeah, I've heard this. I've heard this from my mum of all people, which is the last person you ever want to have.
Wow.
Something about how to make your semen taste.
With your dad coming in the door with some pineapples under his
Exactly. Like, thanks, Mom. I go 16. Ugh, fuck. Anyway.
Wow. Yeah, no, Nick, you have my deepest sympathies. I was before we went on air. Nick and I were discussing how I ended up in London, or just outside London where I live now. And I was discussing. I told him, well, I dropped out of school and then I had to go back to college back in Wales, and I had some family problems. But I actually feel really bad bringing that up now that you've mentioned the problem with your mother.
Yes. Sorry, Mom. Not that you'll ever see this, but sorry anyway.
No. She's too busy bubbling knobs.
Oh my God. Should not have opened this fucking Pandora's box. Shall we get back to the notorious concubines?
Tasting the seed of your seed.
Oh, fuck.
Sorry.
It's taken an odd turn this episode. I didn't expect.
No.
And this time it was Nick.
It was entirely my fault from the very beginning, from bringing up the salty load to begin with.
Well, it would have been fine if you hadn't brought your mother into it.
Yeah. I think I should have left her well out of things.
Yes, you should have done. Yeah. So let's have no more discussion about Nick's
Mum.
No.
Or life advice. Yes.
No.
Yeah.
Old cock breath.
Now that's a step too far. 5.
I do apologize.
Yes.
Thanks. You can write my mum, a note.
Hang on now.
Well, that would
To say sorry.
Oh, all right.
Yeah,
all right. I thought you were thinking about the sports you passed in school.
No.
Yeah, but hang on. If he's going to write your mother a note, he's going to have to tell her what he's apologizing for.
Yeah, let's. Yeah.
And that'll just drag it all up again.
Yeah.
Because there's a good chance she doesn't watch, like you said. But if I send,
I would imagine it's a very slim chance she would stumble across this.
Whereas if she receives a letter to the post saying, "I'd like to draw your attention to,"
yeah, it's only going to make things much
the YouTube
worse.
video.
You are quite correct.
I
Jesus Christ. All right. So anyway, so yeah, back to Ximen Qing. So he
sorry. Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
No, that's Ximen Qing.
That's right. That's right.
Sorry. Tell us to stop messing about.
Yes. I've just gotten to the part of the book where that show is airing. Anyhow, fuck me. I don't even. What are we talking about?
Well,
what's happening?
We were mentioning about the hijacking of the story. So we should mention the script as well is written by Atsushi Yamatoya, who. Well, this is a little bit confusing because I've read different accounts over the years, but so Atsushi Yamatoya, I suppose, is most famous. The name is most famous for the name that was given for whoever the hell the group of people who wrote Seijun Suzuki's Branded to Kill, right?
Okay.
Apparently there was up to like 8 people or something writing for that film, and they chose this collective pseudonym. But apparently there is actually an Atsushi Yamatoya, but sometimes it's a bit difficult to figure out, almost like, like a paperback house name or something, whether it's him or some other people. But there was a real guy, and I think it's him who wrote this. The same year he directed that strange film, The Pistol That Sprouted Hair, or Hairy Pistol, which is a great...
I've not seen that.
A great name. But so it's again, it's a bit like, so lots of Wakamatsu Koji's things. The screenwriter is Masao Adachi, right, who was the guy who later on ended up hijacking a plane for the I don't know, whoever it was, some kind of Japanese group who
Oh, okay.
pro-Palestinian, and they took it. Can't remember where they took
yeah,
it now.
yeah.
And he ended up
Yes.
he went to prison for a few years as well, right? So it was either him writing his scripts or Yasushi Yamada. So yeah, so again, getting back to this weird cross between independent sex filmmakers and political radicals.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, it's when this becomes the fisting.
Yes.
Fascinating period of time, has to be said. One does wonder how conversations went down. I suppose that it makes sense, but like, because a lot of those old hippies of that generation as well were actually deeply sexist as well, right? And pregnant and barefoot in the kitchen and all that. So but then at the same time, anyway, I don't think it's relevant to this particular film, although like you said, Darren, they are doing something with the Wu song, even though I'm not exactly entirely sure. I don't know what the message is, because it's not even basic like absolute power corrupts absolutely or anything like that, right?
Well, I've got an idea. I've got an idea what it is, and I think it's. I mean, spoilers will spoil the whole film by this discussion because we have to. I think it's just a fairly cynical comment on if you get fucked over enough, you turn into a dangerous demon. Right. Which is society as well, you know, obviously. You know, it's kind of if you're downtrodden enough, if you're righteous and you just get all the bad breaks and people attack you and people want to keep you down, then you will snap and you will become dangerous. And in an actual fucking demon.
Right. Yes. Yeah. Right. That is an astonishing ending.
Which is cool. Yeah.
Yeah. The sea of hands is great.
That's brilliant. Yeah.
Incredible image.
Well, and it elevates it. You know, it elevates it as well from titillation, and he's actually trying to say something.
Yeah. It did remind me though, because like I was saying, Wakamatsu Koji's stuff is a bit hard to be getting on with sometimes, and I've never quite. It might yet happen. I haven't quite properly become like a fan like some people are, right? Like I'm still a little bit trepidatious or suspicious. But what this reminded me of, and I'd never put two and two together before, but I suppose, yes, Koji Wakamatsu is actually very good at pulling off arresting imagery. Like in the middle of people yakking and fucking, there will suddenly be, like the sea of hands or someone tied topless to a crucifix in a wasteland, or you know, there's something he is actually pretty good at, is pulling out these interesting images, but then they're surrounded by all this other stuff, right?
Yeah, because none of the sexy stuff is particularly remarkable. You know, it's not, none of it's particularly sadistic or particularly interesting, or you know, there's nothing too amazing about the sexy stuff, but it's the window dressing around it. Yeah,
it's notably whippy for 68, I suppose. But then again,
lots
even more of that in some of Koji Wakamatsu's more savage films. Of like, this is it's quite toned down for him. But like we said, he's trying to do something a bit. It is kind of an interesting outlier. I'd say it's fascinating if you're interested in Koji Wakamatsu. If you're not interested in Koji Wakamatsu, it's okay. It's a diversion.
Yeah, but on its own, you know, forgetting who's made it, just as a viewing experience, it's pretty fucking good. It's pretty interesting.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah.
I think, because I mean, it's, you know, I think that you can get lost as, I don't feel I'm lost, but you can get kind of a little bit overwhelmed with the profusion of the same sort of imagery around the same storyline as we're looking at now, right? For the Not in ShawScope.
Mhm.
There's a lot of Li Han-Xiang we're doing,
Yep.
right? Where it's all around the same story and everyone's getting tied up and everyone's getting whipped and there's plums going up people's fannies.
Yep,
and
yep. And
yeah.
a lot of Pal Sin over and over and over again playing the same.
Yeah. So you can kind of get a little bit jaded to the sex elements of that.
Mhm.
But if you've got this as a little nugget in the middle, it's quite nice. You know, it's quite I think it's worth watching just for the imagery.
Yeah, I mean that feeling of it, it's almost post-apocalyptic in a
Yes,
weird way.
definitely.
It's like a historical post-apocalyptic film. Like at the end when he just rides off into the wasteland screaming at the top of his lungs after he's killed, this version of Lotus Pan. Like it's just it's crazy.
Yeah, but also the zinger at the end with the hermit, what's that but fucking, Mad Max.
Yeah.
Yeah. But also the kind that kind of setting, the with the kind of the framing story with I call him a hermit, although he's not really a hermit, but I'm calling him a hermit.
Crazy old man.
The hermit, the old man character.
For a hermit.
Yeah. But with the old man, that location, it's just like a ruined temple or something that's so ruined you can't tell what it was. And there's just dust and tumbleweeds everywhere. And it's just like this really kind of hopeless kind of landscape, isn't it? It's this really barren, desolate kind of place.
But it is very, I think talking about it has made it of more interest in a way, because it's so slight. Kind of talking about all the elements kind of almost makes me want to have another look at it, actually. But at the same time, I'm wondering as well, you're saying divorced from all the elements that we're talking about, but I'm wondering as well is if you didn't know any of that stuff, I think it's because it's in opposition to that it's so different. I think that's making it more interesting for us as well. Whereas if you totally saw it cold, I think it would still be all right, but it's definitely more interesting in context than out.
Yes. Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, because and again, it goes back to what you were saying regarding having that foreknowledge or having that familiarity with Lotus Pan, Heroes of the Marsh, etc. Yeah.
Is this so? In the previous version we watched, was it a cat that kills?
I was trying to work that out
because it starts showing up then, because it shows up in one of the other films we're going to talk about. I don't remember it. This Notorious Concubines is the first time I remember a cat being the reason that the baby dies.
I've got a feeling there's something else we've seen with a cat in, but
in the opening credits of the next film we're going to talk, when they have pages from the Golden Lotus and they have the illustrations, there is a little white cat in the original illustration.
So I'm assuming it's part of the story because it shows up in two different versions, one made in Japan, one made in China, but I just didn't remember it showing up in any of the previous versions that have had this extended version, like the novel version, right, where it follows basically. Well,
as we're discovering, Golden Lotus seems to be a bit of a pick a mix for filmmakers, isn't it? So it might come up again. You never know. Or it'll be a dog or a gerbil or something in another.
And there definitely seems to be like this kind of bondage scene in the outdoors seems to show up.
Yeah.
In multiple versions. So I'm assuming that
could also be a Koji Wakamatsu fetish as well. There's a lot of people being tied to crucifixes and whipped in the open.
Right.
Right. So Notorious Concubines then, kind of interesting.
Yeah, I liked it. I also really like there's a great bit of like sex position where the one bandit girl just like gets her tits out and stands there. And she's quite well endowed, for a woman of the time of that country. And then and she just delivers dialogue with her tits out. And I was like, yep, I'm enjoying that.
Yes, you think, why can't Ian McKellen do that when he does it?
Exactly.
Ian McKellen might have really good tits.
I doubt it. He's a scrawny bloke.
got a lot of money.
This is true. Maybe that's
He
where
could,
it's all gone.
he can do whatever he wants.
There we go. You heard it here first. What the revelations coming out of this show are unbelievable.
Yes.
Right.
I will say too that Ximen Qing again dies with a massive spurt of blood out of his cock.
Yeah, that's a thing. That's obviously a thing, isn't it?
Right. But it's almost
that's been in everything.
It reminded me more of the one from like the Adulteress. I maybe wonder too, was the Adulteress based on was it based on an older story, or was it like a film script? I wonder.
I think that was a script. I think that was an original.
Okay.
Yes,
I wonder then if that's a nod
maybe
to this. Maybe.
Drawing on some stuff that we're not clued in enough to know for sure, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Because there's another thing that we're gonna get to. Which one was it? There's a that was straying into that anyway. Shall we move on to the Golden Lotus, Love and Desire?
Yes.
So this is another example of how this is an ongoing learning process where we're kind of being filmed, figuring stuff out in real time. So it's Li Hanxiang again. So we watched his 73 Golden Lotus, and then we kind of accidentally went forward and watched his 1994 version of Amorous Lotus Pan. And then we were wondering, well, you know, a bit odd that he did this. This is his third bite at the apple, but he didn't go kind of full on for the ages. So we were kind of figuring out why would he. And so now, again, it doesn't really kind of make sense as to why he didn't go full on for the 94 version. But turns out it's not exactly right that it's his third attempt. It's more like his 2.5 attempt, isn't it? Because this thing in the middle is a kind of weird meta Golden Lotus adjacent story, isn't it? It's not quite Golden Lotus, but there's enough. It's Golot. There's like enough Golden Lotus in it, but it's not all the way. Is that would you say that's correct?
It's got more to do with Ximen Qing, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, you know, what if we just, instead of following, you know, doing all the morality tale stuff, why don't we just follow Ximen Qing around for a week and see what fucking debauchery he gets up to?
And I think it really laser focuses on the rivalry between the two girls, right? Between Pinger and Lotus, right?
Yeah.
It does show up in the other versions we've seen, but this one, that's what this one's really all about. It's just this triangle of the three of them.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it stars once again Tan Lap Man, who, the more I see him, the more I kind of realize that, yes, I kind of understand why he seems almost born to play. It's got something to do with him exposing just the right amount of gum when he smiles. I think. I mean that in all seriousness. He looks kind of vaguely feral and demonic, doesn't he?
Yeah. He's it's not often that I start to dislike an actor simply because of his performance, because of the characters he portrays. But I'm starting to dislike this motherfucker.
See, I'm starting to really dig him. I think he's someone to aspire to.
Well,
yes.
I like him as Simon. Right. In whatever that was, the modern one, the reincarnation of Lotus Pan.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we should mention this opens with a framing device, doesn't it, as well?
Yeah, this is bizarre. This kind of where it's set in the modern age. They're on a film set, or like it seems like they're about to film a version of it, and then you think, oh, what's going on? And it never really comes back to it.
No, and Li Hanxiang plays himself, right? Li Hanxiang comes out and starts directing.
Kind of breaks the fourth wall for no discernible reason.
Yeah. and then it goes
I
into
like
the
that.
film. Yeah, I liked it.
Yeah, I did like that because it's there's no join between this is a film set and here's the action and here's the film.
It seemed a bit like Lindsay Anderson to me somehow.
Yeah.
Right. Yes, and like we said, I'll go on.
No, and I was gonna mention, and Lee Han Sang's favorite, the little feet.
Oh yes,
with a fucking vengeance in this one.
Yeah, I think there is even a scene where maybe somebody masturbates with feet, or feet are involved in. Yeah, I remember thinking like, oh, this is really pushing the foot fetishism.
Yeah,
where it's really front and center in this version.
Little feet covered in dog poop as well.
Oh yes,
picking another box, maybe, I guess, for someone.
Yeah. Turns out Lee Han Sang, although he is a bona fide genius, right, and created some of the best films in Hong Kong film history, is a dirty little boy.
Yeah,
isn't he? He is. And he's not a nice perv either. He's a nasty perv.
Yeah, I was thinking like who else, like who, you know, I mean, Tinto Brass began by making a few kind of serious, you know, films before kind of straying further and further into this.
But that's not, you know, Tinto Brass didn't direct the fucking Ten Commandments.
No,
you know,
definitely not.
Lee Han Sang is Cecil B. DeMille deciding that the fucking Linda Lovelace and John Holmes are the new fucking meta.
I'd like to see Tinto Brass's 10 Commandments.
Me too.
That would be good.
Moses would be like this really hot European woman in a miniskirt.
And instead of the Red Sea being spread.
And there's a horse.
Like we said then, so it's about this love rivalry between Lotus Pan and one of his other missuses, right? Which kind of gets out of control, and there's a lot of collateral damage, including a cat being beaten to death.
Yeah, I have a note about it. I was like, I wonder how Clive's going to feel about this.
Well, it was so patently fake that it
right.
Although that cat didn't enjoy being carried about, you could tell. But
there was a little bit where the cat got a little bit squeezed around the neck, wasn't it?
But you can carry a cat about like that by the neck, and they seem surprising how long you can carry a cat around like
because
that.
That's what mother cats do that, right?
Yes.
How they
But
at least nobody put one inside somebody else's clothes and beat the shit out of them with a stick.
Yeah. That's not this one. That's another one.
No, it's not. Exactly.
That's the next one, isn't it? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And and we should say it does go pretty much full on Cat 3, right? This one.
Yeah.
Some of the sex scenes go on and on and on. Yes. You're like, wow.
Ariston and on and on. Yeah. I was expecting that little. Oh no, hang on. That's not. I'm getting confused between Duracell, which is the rabbit, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah.
And the dancing Scotch tape skeleton.
Oh yeah.
I was both night and day. With a harmonica.
I was actually thinking, while you were saying that, I was thinking about the Toshiba advert that's had the Hello Tosh. Get a Toshiba.
Hello Tosh got a Toshiba. Hello.
That's it. Like the Alexei Sale thing. Yes.
Re-record, not fade away. Anyway, that's our little bit of nostalgia for this.
I reckon you could put all three of them into some music program and do like an overlay mashup kind of thing. That would be quite good. Just those three.
Okay. There's a job.
I think they've got a similar rhythm. Anyway.
I'm disagreeing with silence is what I'm doing.
Someone called someone then as well during in the background. I heard a voice.
Oh, it could be the wife. She could be talking to us.
Ah, there you go.
In the room, yeah.
There it is again.
Yeah, I think she's talking to her mum on the phone, maybe.
Ah, that's okay. No. I just needed to know that I wasn't starting to hear the voices again. That's okay.
No, I think you're good.
Yes.
No. My the Duracell and Toshiba.
What with my technical expertise?
That's right.
Mm.
Yes.
Yes.
I'll just strap a drum kit to my back with some cymbals and a guitar, and just try and sing all.
This is sounding better now. This sounds good. This sounds. Yeah. I want to see Darren on the streets, one-man band, doing the Scotch VHS Toshiba mashup. Hopefully to a group of young people who don't know what the fuck he's referencing. I think he's a crazy person.
Yeah. And one of those bastards will monetize it on TikTok, and I won't make any money out of it.
Yeah,
but you could maybe play Coachella.
Yes, I can see that. I can actually see that in a tent. Yeah.
This one is really sleazy. I mean, like it really feels. Yeah.
No. You carry on.
I was just thinking, like, just my notes say things like grin, gurn, nipple twist, and porno tongue kissing from Ximen, spitting booze into her open mouth. It was just like, it made me think about Pal saying he's like, every time you re-upped, signed up, oh, they're doing another one. Yes, I'm in. I'll do that again. I'll play. Yeah. Are we gonna? Yeah. How much further will we push it this time?
I mean, this one. All that. Nick says, I had a hard on watching this.
Well, I do. My other note just says directly above that, both these girls are super hot, and hot is spelled HAWT. So this are again,
and not in anything else either, right?
No, I know.
Really? That's a disappointment.
Maybe one of the plums got stuck.
Right.
I tell you who is in it though. Charlie Shaw is in it.
Yes.
Kind of interesting. It's a little bit. I know he was already doing it for a bit. In the 90s, of course, he became the face of Cat 3 Perv. So it feels like a little bit of a
passing of the flashlight.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
I like that.
I also said here, at a certain point, I just said, I am seriously in love with this Golden Lotus. I would kill fucking Wu Da to have a crack at her.
Oh,
there we go. Nick's taken quite a fancy to.
Oh yeah. She's fantastic.
What I quite liked, the bits I quite, because this is a fucking weird film as well, right? Because not only is it sleazy, really fucking nasty. Actually, it's a lot of the stuff that they do. These is just but it's filthy, but it's also unnecessarily nasty and sadistic, right?
Right.
I know Clive's going to disagree. But there's some fucking weirdness in this. It's like at 2 points during the film, they get a fucking exorcist in.
Yes.
They get this, and I have never seen this in another Hong Kong film, right? And maybe it's my ignorance. I've never seen a witch come in and do an exorcism. Because that's specifically what she is. She's like, it's a female, like, crazy, and by which I mean, because she goes fucking bananas when she gets there. She just does like does she do an exorcism on the baby at first, I think?
Yeah.
And then she does an exorcism on someone else. So that's a bit strange.
Yeah. There's some great lines. Like, this is a line from the subtitles. After waking up, the vagina filled the bed and the limbs were weak.
Yes, these subtitles are interesting as well, I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
And also Dean Sheck's character shows up in this one again, right? The doctor who goes to help.
That's Charlie Shaw.
And then that's who that was. Okay.
I could understand you not recognizing him, because Charlie Shaw is odd. If he's not wearing glasses and in a business suit, you could easily not recognize him, because I didn't recognize it. I knew Charlie Shaw was in this. When's Charlie Shaw going to turn up? Oh, that's Charlie Joe. He doesn't look like he normally looks because he's usually more in an urban environment, right, rather than period.
He does have a great line. He says, "Sputum or no sputum," and she goes, "Slightly."
fair to middling. Oh, also before this point in the film, not that we're necessarily being linear about this, but I want to discuss the wanking granny.
Yes, I have some notes about her as well.
That is something I did kind of like, because that's kind of harking back, isn't it? And I can't even remember, it must be 73. It's 73, I think, isn't it? Where you've got the kind of bedroom hopping, and one of the mistresses is outside rubbing herself against one of the poles in the thing.
Yeah.
But in this one, it's a granny.
Yes.
It's just an old lady.
Yeah.
Step back, Spider-Man, Batman, Superman. It's super grand.
It's wanking grand.
Super grand,
Super
flicking the
wanking
bean.
grand. With a theme tune by Billy Connolly.
That's it. Yeah. So I like the wanking granny.
Yeah,
and yeah,
I think we should clip that for the trailer.
Yeah. Only if we can.
Aaron says.
Hang on. I got an idea, lads.
Oh, here we go. I'm worried now.
Mm.
Because the last thing Darren said before that was wanking granny.
Yep.
In ancient China, before the dawn of time, before grannies learned to wank, one gran will emerge.
Is this echo actually working?
Not
Yes.
really. You just sound a bit more muffled.
Oh, okay. No, the echo's not working. It's not working, is it?
Now it works. Yeah.
Is it?
You were a
there
bit
it goes.
too close.
Hello.
Yeah, here we go.
Oh. Anyway, what I was trying to do was I was trying to do a trailer voice. You know, that like deep look, that deep
yes.
voice look
Yes.
of the trailer, but it didn't really work.
In a world of grannies
That's it.
who did wank.
That's it. That's exactly. I shouldn't have bothered with the fucking technology, should I? Anyway.
Once again, it's your desire to get high tech that
Yes, your Achilles heel.
tipped you over. Yeah.
Yeah.
I told you, Darren,
I can't-
stick to the one-man band. Play to your strengths.
Yeah. Yeah. The other thing I liked in not liked, but is kind of out a little bit out there, is this whole there's like this, I don't know what the fuck it is, right? But when you've got piles, right? I don't have piles, but when people have piles,
Yes.
they have these little inflatable cushions that they sit on.
The rubber donut things. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there's one of these in that, isn't there? There's like this embroidered dick cushion.
Yes.
Oh,
And-
yes. But it's hard, isn't it? It's hard. It looks like it's made from wood, doesn't it?
I don't know. For me, it looked like a cushion.
Oh, I'm
Yeah.
glad you brought that up because I was trying to figure out what the fuck it was for.
Yeah.
That's your question
So-
as well.
Well, I've got I've got an idea. So I think what it is, because there's a bit right at the end where he takes someone's virginity by force, where you put it, presumably he's got a colossal schlong, right?
Well, this is the house
And
boy.
it's-
No, this is Ximen.
This is
No,
Ximen.
cement. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
And because there's one bit at the end where he puts it on his dick,
Yes, this is the bit
and then he has sex with the girl who doesn't want to have sex, and then he comes out and he takes it off and says, "Oh, you've got to take it all," or something like that. But the same bit of kit is also used on the nephew or the servant boy or whatever he is, where she gives him the foot wank,
Yes.
but with the little feet.
Yes.
So and they've made like a mock-up, haven't they? Like a mannequin foot, like a miniature mannequin foot. And there's this dick is just like a shape covered in cloth coming out of this, with this
Yes,
cushion.
It's like tiny foot edging, basically.
By the way, viewers,
Yeah,
Gareth
yeah,
hasn't lost it. This does happen.
Actually
It
happens
does
in the film, yes.
actually happen in the film.
Yeah.
So that's definitely worthy of discussion, isn't it? And it's just the technology that has to go in, just the kind of
You and your
equipment
tech
that has to
again.
go into. Wow.
That jet
But,
man, I don't know.
Yeah, but it's just it's just okay, he's thought of this, but he's also thought of all the fucking special effects that
So-
have to be achieved.
What is that thing then, do you think? Do you think it's like a cock silencer or something that doesn't allow
Could be.
you don't give your full girth?
I think
Because
so.
I have to admit, my mind went to a slightly darker place, and it doesn't make any sense. But the only thing I could think of was you put this hard thing between you and her, and you're slamming away. Is it designed as like a womb crusher or something? Like it was like I was trying to figure out what that was. It devised to give more pain, but maybe less. It's like a
Yeah.
you put on the training wheels first, and like you said, now you're ready for the full. That actually makes more.
That'll be my
Yes, that makes more sense.
assumption.
That's
Mine was
I'd
just
say it
gratuitous.
looks more cushioned to me for sure.
Yeah.
Cushioned cock ring.
But that
Yeah.
whole end sequence as well just is ghastly, because it does. I mean, it seems like someone being fucked to death, doesn't it? For a while, it's not quite where it goes, but it does seem like he's just I'm just gonna fuck you to death, right? That's what it seems like.
But am I right? Am I right? Is that his niece?
Right? Seems
Am
like
I? Yeah,
to me, because she refers to him as uncle, but I wasn't sure if that was a term of like.
No, but I think
or if he's legitimately her uncle.
No, but elsewhere in the script, he refers to her as niece, or at least in the subs.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure not only is that rape, plus, like, when he checks if she's a virgin or not, that's quite graphic, isn't it? And a load of blood on my finger.
I did like the term "how dare you shave my eyebrows" to mean cuckolded. Is that specifically Chinese thing? Like,
but there's another subtitle along those lines, which is something like, he said, "Do you think I can't see? Am I blind? Do you think I have long eyebrows in front of my eyeballs?" Or something. Like, it's a very specific piece of imagery, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's when he's yelling at the 6, and that kid turns out to be 16 in the script anyway, as well, right? The one that Lotus has been having the affair with, and
So I reckon this might have been shot in Taiwan as well, because there's a lot of real locations that seem like they would be unlikely to be Hong Kong, and some snowy places as well, right? So I'm thinking they might have gone up into the mountains of Taiwan somewhere, not Korea, I think. But I don't know. That's just an instinct. I have no evidence. And so there's the other thing I want to mention before we kind of get to final thoughts of what we think of the film. The other thing that when I was looking at the Hong Kong movie database, so this film has, and this is always a confusing credit. A good example of this is the Angel films. The Angel films, the Girls with Guns films. Like those credits are notoriously difficult to figure out. And they have like 2 or 3 different credit directors. And that's because they have the director, and then they have this thing, the executive director credit, right? Which seems to be, I'm not even sure. I don't think it's akin to, because like executive producer, I think, tends to mean someone just came on board after the film was made and helped distribute it, right? And they get an executive producer credit. But I think executive director does mean that they, whether they're above or I don't know,
an overseer role.
Yeah, but other than Li Hanshan, this thing's got 3 executive director credits, and they are Lin Fu Ti, who's been directing since the 60s, and I suppose his most famous title now is that film 18 Swirling Riders from 1977. That's him.
Okay.
You've got Sha Tzu Hui, who wasn't that busy, but seems to have been an assistant director and a director at Shaw for a while, and also made The Demon Wetness the year after this, which is a great title. And then Liu Ko-shung, who directed the film that me and Darren watched for Halloween last year, who's The Princess and the Toxicant.
Oh, I didn't clock that. No,
And
I'm never.
Journey.
I am never fucking watching that film again.
Princess and the Toxicant.
Yeah, because I watched 2 fucking versions of it.
I'm watching it again because I can't get me enough frog eating.
Yeah. Okay. Well, make sure you tell Ron how good it is.
Yeah. Well, I think you would watch that film again, Darren, if someone amazingly managed to bring out a HD version with the commentary, and you would watch it again, wouldn't you?
No, I wouldn't. No.
Really?
No, I didn't like it that much. I didn't like that. I didn't.
You should
Yeah.
watch it, Nick. You will find it fascinating, I think.
Yeah,
and it stars Carter the Sex Machine Wong as well. So
Okay.
Yeah, you would get a kick out of it, but it's a bit nasty. A bit of animal cruelty in there.
Well, yes, we're working through the entire Joe D'Amato filmography right now, so yeah, that's a weekly thing I have to cope with at the moment. So
although we haven't seen a frog bit, yeah, no, that's frog eating. Anyway,
well, it's a frog and a mouse, isn't it? It's
mouse,
the mouse
and a snake and a fucking.
It was the mouse I didn't like more than anything. But yeah, anyway, yeah.
So I just wanted to throw that out there and mention but I don't know what the fuck it means that you have 3. Because the thing is, it's not like an assistant director or something. Although it has an assistant director as well. You've got 3, obviously, people getting on as well that have experience, right? There's like 3 experienced. So how on earth? Because this feels of a piece to me.
Oh yeah.
And plus,
it feels like Li Han Xiang.
Yeah, Li Han Xiang's been pervy before. He'll be pervy.
The guardrails further come off.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
We really should stitch this with the first 2 or 3 Li Han Xiang joints that we reviewed. Talking about
I love a turn.
Li Han Xiang is the master. He's Linda Lindai, Li Han Xiang, it's a perfect pairing. My God, he's like fucking Cecil B. DeMille or fucking something. And then all of a sudden, it's like, right, okay, time for the fucking torture, the sex torture.
Yeah, it's an odd one, isn't it? It's like you said, it's a bit like I'm trying to think what a good example would be. Yeah, it's a bit like William Wyler or someone suddenly turned into Sean Costello or something like that. It's like,
yeah.
But any thoughts? Did any of it feel to you like, oh, this bit feels like someone else has taken over, or because it didn't feel like that to me at all. So this
not at all.
This is bugging me. This weird. So if anyone knows any more about this division of labor or what it means, or whether it's just some nonsense credit someone threw someone, I would genuinely be quite interested to know what all this means.
Actually, probably a good time for a plug. So I've only ever seen this person's name written down, so I may mispronounce his name.
Do that again.
What?
Say time for what?
Time for what?
Go on, say it.
Time for time. Here we go. Right. Time for a plug. Hey.
Well worth it, I think you'll say.
Yeah, no. I saw it come in. I hope I set you up okay, Clive.
It was brilliant. It was like the 2 Ronnies.
It was. Oh no, that's Morecambe and Wise, isn't it? Sorry.
Yes. They're all not funny, so it's fine.
Yeah. Yes. Anyway, but time for a plug. Actually, talking about Li Han Xiang. The person who would know, or who is likely to know this stuff, is Fred Amboissine, who is a French interviewer. If you've seen enough sort of 88 or Eureka or the recent outpouring of sort of usually kung fu related product on Blu-ray, then more likely than not, you've probably seen interviews, quite rare interviews carried out with stars and directors. And it's likely that Fred conducted those interviews. So he's kind of, I hadn't really heard of him until up until the last couple of years, but he's actually making a Li Hanxiang documentary.
Ah, right.
Currently, yeah. And seems to be a bit of an expert on Li Hanxiang. So Fred would know this, and maybe we can.
Is he?
Yeah, I've got it. I've got him on Facebook, so I might.
Okay, there we go. Ask him.
I might.
Send
Yeah, I
him
might
this
bang him a message
and ask him. Yeah.
Yeah. I'll probably have to give him a primer on Carry On films and various other British foibles that we're into. But yes, that's if he's not already an Anglophile of some sort already.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, but that's a really good point to plug this actually, because I am fascinated to see this documentary that he's producing, because it's just going to be an hour and a half of the life and works of Li Hanxiang, who, as we are,
we'll see the drift then from
well, it's exactly that. And it's kind of, because we're kind of floundering a little bit on, the kind of whiplash of going from lavish Linda Eye vehicle to fucking sexual torture in the late 80s, early 90s. So, or through the 70s through to the 90s, really.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm very interested to catch that and get some nuggets from it.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, Fred, and I apologize for mispronouncing your name, which I probably am. Fred Amboissine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
We'll bang it. Those of you who follow us on Facebook, I can maybe put the link up to, I think he has a website or something, or I'll maybe put the link up to his website.
Mm-hmm.
Highly recommended. But but I think for now, kind of Li Hanxiang has to remain a bit of an enigma that we don't really know as yet, doesn't he?
Mm-hmm.
That doc sounds fascinating. That sounds like something that, assuming it's well done, it's really going to plug some gaps. And really, we need. I mean, that's just one name as well, right? I mean, there's a whole constellation of these filmmakers who we only really know just a little bit about. Let's hope there's more of that kind of stuff on it, because I would imagine it's very difficult to research, and you're talking even about someone who was relatively a big name once upon a time. So yeah, once you go below a certain line, you're trying to look up like even more obscure filmmakers. I mean, that must be a task and a half, right? Because it's not just a matter of language barriers and stuff like that, right? But of course, some of notoriously a lot of Southeast Asian countries just didn't seem to give a shit about film preservation.
But they don't even talk about the films a lot. In some sections of that culture, it's just people just don't want to remember films, or that's Granny's film, or that's Dad's film.
Like Toby was talking about this as well, right? Like you rock up somewhere and they were like, what's this? Why are you interested in this boring old crap? They moved on, right? They're not interested in it anymore. What do we think then of Golden Lotus, Love and Desire?
I was going to say the ending is interesting because it doesn't really have one in a way.
It kind of does, but it is interesting. You're right, because it's like it's not the expected, and it's very abrupt. It's like
it felt like they were pushing towards the he fucks himself to death.
Yes, I think so.
And he gets encouraged to do so, and then suddenly it doesn't happen, and instead one of the wives.
It happens off screen, doesn't it?
Oh, I didn't even catch that.
Off screen.
No, I didn't catch that.
I rewound it because there's like a subtitle that says something. It's very, very brief that says something like, just he passed on or something like that, and then you're left with I can't remember one of the. It must be the wife, I think.
Yeah, Pinger, the who isn't Gold. She goes into
left
another
with I don't know. It seemed like she was meditating on what had happened, and I was trying to polish her soul.
I thought that was some sort of fucking ghost or something. I thought that was some
after
weird...
he's died, and she's like basically trying to atone.
Got you.
Or
right.
That makes a lot more sense now.
Yeah, but it is. You're quite right. It is almost like shit. We're almost running a film.
Yeah. But what I kind of didn't like about it, and all right, it's modern sensibilities talking, but nothing. It's not really wrapped up. It's, you know, the kind of the sadism isn't resolved by any sort of comeuppance, or any sort of consequences for this kind of brutality and hedonism, and you know, and it's, although I enjoyed it, and you know, there's a lot of sexy times and fun to be had in it in terms of exploitation cinema. It did leave a little bit of a taste in the mouth, actually. I thought, no, I think
we know
a little bit of a nasty
my mom has some advice for that there, Darren.
Pineapple, yeah, okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Nick, will you stop mentioning your mum? You're making it worse.
Yeah.
All right, are we done?
I couldn't help thinking of your mum throughout the whole of this while I was watching it.
Oh yes.
Well, what I was going to say, in the wider context of category 3, you mentioned the kind of the fact that it's just left and there's no comeuppance or anything like that. I do feel that that's a bit of a trope of a lot of the category 3 stuff, whether it's period or modern day, is you get a shitload of heinous things, and then it just ends, and it's like there's no excuse made for, well, we're you know, there's no lip service. It's just there's your heinous shit. That's what you wanted to see. You got it. You got your money's worth. No,
fair enough. I think it's just that, again, like I say, it's the whiplash between, you know, the Li Hanxiang of the 60s and this Li Hanxiang. You know what I mean? I'm expecting some sort of neat bow tied around all of this, a
moral to this story.
Yeah, pretty much. I wanted it to be a parable of Jesus.
Right.
I'm just wondering, I mean, I found it kind of interesting, and nicely sleazy. I enjoyed the sleaze of it, and certainly I found it interesting to watch it as a companion piece to Golden Lotus and the other one we watched. I don't know how well it works by itself, divorced from those elements.
No, unless you I think had we watched this any earlier, I think we would struggle quite a lot with it. Actually,
yeah, maybe. Yeah,
I think it's only because we've immersed ourselves in this story and particularly these characters.
Yeah,
because aside from that, it's just an horrible bloke doing bad things to women, and that's it.
But by this point, he's become a familiar and lovable horrible bloke.
Yeah,
we would like to be one day. Right. But we need to.
I hate to do this.
Gum thing. You need to get the gum.
Yeah. I hate to do this. I actually need to excuse myself for a moment because I'm in need of some relief.
Oh, you're off to
go masturbate, are you?
I'm gonna go and see Nick's mum.
Okay, I see. Well, I hope you've had your pineapple then, sir.
Might be some time.
Yeah, well, you'll be able to tell her I'm eating pineapple because she'll be like with a sour face.
Oh God.
Yeah.
All right.
Go on then, darling.
I'll be back in a minute.
All right. I might do the same then, actually.
Well, fuck your mum.
Yes.
All right.
No, she's in Mexico. She's far too far away.
See
I'll be
you
back one
two
sec.
guys over there then. I might as well dive in. So welcome back. Yes, what started life as a very erudite dissection of Shaw and not Shaw films and has basically descended into an extended variation on the your mum insult game. And next up is
your mum?
No, she's a saint.
All right.
It's a ghost story of Campin
Great, Clive. I want you to explain to me exactly how this relates to this whole amorous Lotus Pan question, because I'm not saying I didn't quite enjoy this pile of fucking crazy, but I don't see how this relates.
Yeah, I have the same question. Yeah, I'm also curious. Yeah.
No.
But I fucking love this film.
Well, I do certainly want to see the companion piece Campin Mwy of Deep Throat. But yeah, I think that's it. That's just it, Campin Mwy, because that's like one other version transliteration of Jing. I think it's the German one as well, right? Because there's a krautrock band called Campin Mwy. So, and it's also close to the what was the golden lot? What was the notorious concubines? The Japanese Kimpei Bai, right?
Oh, okay, yeah.
But clearly clearly it is somewhat. I don't know. Actually, it's odd. I wonder about this because clearly the original filmmakers have come up with the English title because it's on the print, right? It's not
yeah.
title that's been given to it later. But yeah, one does wonder, like if it was just it doesn't matter, just put up any old shit and they just put up erotic ghost fantasy or something like that. But this is a very specific title, isn't it? Ghost Story of Campin Mwy. So it's weird. I don't.
Well, and it's hard for Western audiences to pronounce even. You know, it's hard for English audiences to pronounce.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So if it was just a straight up, let's put an exploitative export title, you'd put something else, wouldn't you? Fucky Ghost or something like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
But yeah. So I don't. Answer is I don't know.
Okay.
Like the two of you.
Because when it first started, I was like, oh my goodness, they've got an actual like little person to play like Wu Da finally. And then I realized that's not Wu Da. Fairly quickly, this is not the same story at all.
No.
But it does have a very good line right at the very beginning, that those two characters who are hanging out next to like a river somewhere, and one guy goes, "Let's race with our urine." And then they both go, comfortable, as they kiss together.
Well, it is though, isn't it? It is comfort.
That's true. If you've had a full bladder, yep.
Yeah, I just experienced that comfort.
Yes, that comfort.
Yeah.
And then immediately see a bunch of naked girls showing their muffs, prancing together in a river. So it does get off to a good start.
Comfortable start. Well, I thought this was going to be an erotic ghost story ripoff, right? Because they find these three chicks and they fuck them, and then one of them turns into a skeleton, or a kind of skeletal figure, and then another one grows fangs.
Yeah.
So I thought we were off to town going erotic ghost story, and then sometimes it's a little bit Chinese ghost story, but a gender flip on it a little bit, but it's not quite that either. And it has got a dash of Golden Lotus in there, I'd say.
Yeah, there's some bed hopping stuff going on. Yeah,
right. But so
it's fucking great, this film.
Yeah,
I just
you're right.
fucking love this film.
It is
Sorry.
pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's got Chan Pui K as well, right? She's our main. Fuck, I'm having difficulty. Does anyone want to take over here? Because I'm having a bit of a memory block.
I will.
Oh, good.
Please do.
Right. You
Yeah,
seem to be all over this. Yes.
I'm excited about this.
Okay, good.
Right, yeah. So Chan Pung Kei plays Gamlin, who is our kind of chaste Cinderella. Exactly. Yes. And you've got Choi Han, who plays Tin Yao, who's basically, well, he's not quite, but he's basically the character from A Chinese Ghost. He's basically
he's the scholar, isn't he?
He's this well, except he's not a scholar. He just sells like fucking cloth or thread or something. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. He does get to become the crow. He gets to become the crow later on in a
I wrote down exactly the same thing. This turns into the fucking crow, but I don't think the crow was made until.
No, I don't think so.
So yeah,
clearly a rip-off of Ghost Story of Campo Moy. The crow was.
There's elements of it in there. I'm telling you. Anyway. So yeah, there's various characters. Mainly, we've got Mansui as Aunt Choi, who's like the wicked stepmother, isn't she? Yeah, horrible. Yeah. Wong Mei Ching, who's sort of subsidiary prostitute.
Of Amorous Lotus Pan 94 fame.
Yes. But the fucking stars of the show, as far as I'm concerned, are Cam Kong. Sorry, not Cam Kong. Sorry, first of all, Ku Feng.
Yeah.
Playing the fucking Taoist, the fucking ghost hunting, fucking Lam Ching Ying fucking Taoist.
Is he the one who shoots swastikas out of his hands?
That's the one.
Pink swastikas, no less.
Pink swastika laser beams out of his palms. Yeah. And Cam Kong, who plays the bastard fucking captain of the guard kind of henchman.
And Wu Ma.
Oh yeah, and Wu Ma.
Who was clearly wandering past the set or something.
Yeah. It's like that's the other thing. I'm wondering, why the fuck is Wu Ma in Taiwan in 1991?
Well, is he
he's doing loads of other
Fox
stuff?
Legend or something? Because that's his
might be.
story report from that year, right? But it's weird to see all three of them in it. I mean, especially Ku Feng and Wu Ma. Even though Wu Ma's hardly in it. It's an odd. Like, you do wonder how they managed to get them. It's a real casting coup for this film, isn't it? To get. Yeah.
Well, Cam Kong is Cam Kong. Who's the
white-looking guy?
Nick, that's Robert.
Yeah,
that's Robert.
Oh, it's Robert.
Yes,
that's it. That's all we know. That's all we know. And I fucking liked him as well.
He seems to have been in 3 or 4 other films, and they all seem to be dodgy, erotic films as well.
Yeah. What you got to remember about Robert is that he's a monk from Persia.
That's right.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is
true. As soon as I saw him, I was like, oh man, Iranian through and through. That's
fucking Anyway, right, okay. So this is what happens in the film, right? So chaste woman, right, is kind of orphaned, kind of wicked stepmother scenario. Meets up kind of, very chastely and is not allowed out, and it is just Cinderella. She's just enslaved by her auntie who she's been sold to, or I think her dad married the wicked stepmother.
She is
and
a
died.
stepmother, and
there's a little bit of the whole kind of raise the red lantern-y kind of what it's like to grow up in a to become turned out, basically, right?
Yeah. So anyway, after the ghost shenanigans at the start, you get introduced to these two characters, the scholar character and the Cinderella character. And it's all very chaste, and
Hang on, before you go there, just seeing as we are talking about that beginning and lining up. So we've established Ku Feng and Wu Ma are both Taoists of some,
Yeah.
and Robert is from Persia doing something. Who are those other fuckers? Who are
with
those
the frame
I don't know.
spirits or something?
I think, I thought they were like demons that had been summoned up, because at the end, Robert summons them up to help him out, doesn't he?
Mm-hmm.
I think, not in a sexual way, by the way.
Did they come from Persia as well?
They might come from Persia, yeah. They might be, or might
Explain
be
the
over
red
the border.
wigs.
Over the border,
Yeah,
might
they're
be over the border in
foreigners,
Syria.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, after all this business, it kind of goes into a standard kind of Chinese ghost story, erotic, kind of bed hopping, slightly S&M scenario. What's the character's name? Gamlin, the chaste Cinderella girl, gets sold to a brothel.
Mm-hmm.
There's some business with the wicked stepmother fucking someone and then fucking someone else and then having a load of money, and then her dodgy boyfriend, who's the same bloke who saw the ghosts in the river at the start, tries to nick the money and she gets killed. But essentially a lot of it is all about the middle section of the film is all about kind of Gamlin's kind of trials and tribulations at the brothel, because the brothel madam is like really harsh and there's lots of nudity and there's some fucking and there's some Viagra jokes and there's a really horrible scene actually where one of the prostitutes has to fuck this really old licky man is the best way I can describe because he's like really slobbery, isn't he? They did a really good job of making this dude fucking disgusting, because although he seems like a nice man, he goes overboard. The actor seemed to go overboard with the access to young breasts.
I would agree. My note here says old fella licks cute hooker. This actor must be having fun. Is he the one who takes the Viagra and then says, "Tonight someone's gonna suffer"? Ha ha! It's like, Jesus.
No, that's the other one. That's the skinny little runt.
Okay.
Yeah.
The brothel madam is Bai Yu Chan, right? Who's in a few of these things, and she's the witch in that film that for some reason is known as Witch Edited, which is Angela Mao's final credit.
Okay. I hadn't caught that. Yeah. So anyway, so there's lots of to and fro in. Eventually, they get together. Cinderella and the scholar get together, but it's an illicit affair.
He kind of goes on a quest to find her, right? And then he does cool stuff like throws his shoe in the air and which way it points is going to.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, he does like divination. Yeah, he like goes, "Oh Buddha, please show me the way," and he throws his shoe up and the shoe points the way. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I forgot about that. So eventually they run away together, and the brothel madam dispatches Cam Kong and his guards to quite savagely just kick the living shit out of the scholar, which is quite a nasty little scene actually. It's quite effective, because he is, his blood coming out of his mouth, and he's basically beaten to a pulp at the end.
Well, what's funny is he's beaten close to death, and then he gets up and you think, oh, and then he staggers, rolls downhill and bangs his head and dies.
Yeah.
Until of course he gets hit by lightning, because as we know, that makes people come back as Brandon Lee in The Crow.
Yes,
right?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yes. And
then it's the fucking Crow.
There's another ghost as well, isn't there? There's prior to that, and one of the female characters killed and comes back as a long ghost.
But
that's kind of apropos of nothing, really.
Yeah, that's just a little vignette, isn't it?
Yeah.
But so he comes back for vengeance, and he's got like this fucking long hair and all painted white, and he floats, doesn't he?
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and actually on that point, so at the start where you've got the kind of, you know, Taoist magical battle where Wu Ma and Ku Feng are flying about the place doing swastika laser beams, right? And in the middle and at the end, all that Wu Jia stuff, all that flying around in the trees stuff, is done actually really well. So it seems to be on a budget, this film. You would assume it's on a bit of a budget, but all the kind of special effects stuff is actually pretty good.
But the fuck scene is outrageously long. Like, almost to the point where occasionally you look at your watch and be like, is this scene still, they're still having sex? Like,
there's a lot of that in the middle. But yeah, anyway, so he comes back for vengeance. He does his vengeance bit, and then we cut to Robert.
Yes.
Right, and this fucking Robert, I fucking love Robert.
Well, what's it with the big paper mache bull with the glowing, like, Ida Joe's eyes? And then fucking this girl, and then I thought he had impregnated her with a laser beam, but then she's vaporizes around his dick, and he somehow absorbs her energy into his body.
So as far as I can tell, he summons a blonde dancing girl from the ether somewhere, because she's not there when it starts.
From Persia.
So must be a Persian dancing girl. That's it. And around this bull altar thing, and then fucks her with lightning bolts, and then he starts to suck all her life force, and then she disintegrates. It's fucking brilliant.
It's insane.
Well, there's another thing. So there's this transfer event. So when Ghost Boy comes back, he eventually has an affair. He finally gets to have sex with Champui K, right?
Yeah.
Before Robert turns up for a fight at the end. And there's a brief bit, it's very easy to miss, but there's a brief bit where she like defends him and goes like, get away. And she suddenly can fly vertically, fly horizontally in a very magical way, which is not something she was able to do. So was fucking him, did that transfer magical powers to her briefly? Because she's definitely a bit magic-y for a few seconds.
Ask Robert.
Not again. Well, yeah, come on the show, please, Robert. Tell us about your experiences in Persia and Hong Kong.
And tell us how we can summon up one of those dancing girls. Yeah, and then Robert comes with a fucking big fucking crucifix, and as a fight, and then Wu Ma and Ku Feng turn up, and they fight Robert and some demons, and then he gets brought back to life, happily ever after. Fucking bargain. It's great.
Yes, no, I enjoyed this film as well, I have to admit, Darren, but I'm going to try and be slightly objective.
Go on then.
Because what I know about me is this, that if you have someone flying about in some trees a bit, and then some primary color magic mandala symbols with choo, choo noises, I'm happy. Like, I could watch that all week and I wouldn't get bored, right? So, and if you took that out of this,
so what's your fucking problem, Clive?
No, my problem. But what I'm saying is, I'm very easily pleased. I'm very easily pleased, and I don't. It's not even exceptional. Like, it's kind of
it's all right.
Not exceptional flying about choom choom stuff. It's like
but it's a combination, isn't it?
Well, like you said, there's a little bit at the beginning, there's a little bit in the middle, and there's a little bit at the end. And if you took it out, then I don't know if I did, but yeah, it's just enough. I agree with it. I had a whale of a time watching this film, but then as soon as it finished, and I was sat there with a big stupid smile on my face, I did think, what's wrong with me? What is fucking wrong with me?
Okay. Nick, you're gonna have to cast the casting vote.
I had a great time with this. This thing was mental in all the best ways.
It's not very good. Let us.
No, it's not. It's not. But But I had
just to make sure we say that. It's not
huge amount of sympathy and warm feeling and extended like hospitality to this. Like from the very beginning, I was like, this seems like it was made for me.
I tell you what it was.
Robert.
Comfortable. It was
a comfortable piss.
It was a nice, warm, three-way piss of a film for us. We enjoyed crossing the street.
This is the one where somebody puts a cat in someone else's clothes and beats on it with a stick.
Oh, that's right. We didn't even mention.
Yes.
And this is a testament to the film. Right? We didn't even mention the sadistic cat torture or any of the fucking nudity in this film.
Of which there is massive amount.
even less distress than the cat in the other film. Right? It's just cut to something wriggling in a.
But I did like that.
Anywhere near the cat with the pole as well, so I think it's fine. But I love. Need not worry about this one. It's not Princess and the Toxicant, right?
Like, but I love the use of it because, like, what they do is when they come back to threaten her again, you know, they'd be like, "Well, there's the cat," and then they have this close up of the cutest little like, and you're like, so it's a thing of terror, you know. Like,
yes. The comfy chair.
Yes, exactly. I wrote that down. This is very Monty Python's.
That's the next step, isn't it? After the comfy chair, we put a nice kitten in your lap with a cup of tea. So no, probably of these three, this was oddly the most enjoyable, but without doubt the shoddiest as well. I think.
No, you're right. But it's the one I have.
Get us a copy of Camping Mwy of Deep Throat because it's a lot of these people. It's Champui K again. It's Mansui. It's Hongqing Mei. It's Bai Yu Chan. They're all in it. They don't have Ku Feng Wu Ma and Kam Kongo. So I'm wondering if that's a bad sign that even they wouldn't be. Because the weird thing is as well. I would understand if Camping Mwy of Deep Throat was, well, it might have been made back to back, you never know, but it wasn't released until 3 years later. It didn't come out until 94. Although having a lot of the same people in it, I wonder if it isn't this, shot at the same. I was even, because I don't know anyone who's seen this film. There's one review on Hong Kong Movie Database. Well, because at first I was thinking, hang on, is this maybe like some weird re-release with like even potentially hardcore inserts? But the one review on Hong Kong Movie Database doesn't make it sound as if the same film as Ghost Story of Camping Mwy. So yes, please, Camping Mwy of Deep Throat, give it to us. We want to see it. We want to be comfortable some more.
I'm just can I just say as well how I had not realized this until watching this film, how fucking great and how easy Ku Feng is at playing Taoist Lam Cheng Ying Ghostbuster monk. And I need more Ku Feng Ghostbuster monk in my life. I really, really do. Do you agree?
Yeah, no. There's our plea, another plea.
Yes. Well, I think he's dead now, so.
No, but there might be some other ones he did.
Yeah.
We have to
Yeah, let us know. Yeah.
I just realized too, actually, it's just looking at my notes that maybe the connection with Amorous Lotus Pan is that there is in fact a plums in the vagina scene in this as well. And also a scene where he pours alcohol into her cooch and then drinks it out of there.
There's some fruit. I don't know if it's a plum, but there's fruit.
Oh, okay, grapes or whatever, but it's definitely.
No, I think it was a plum. And I got what I remember about that scene was he puts it in, takes it out, takes a bite, and then goes, ugh. I don't like that.
Yes.
He
Which I thought was
Yes, there you go.
Although that's
It all comes full circle.
that requires a bit, yeah, that's a looser snatch, I think, for the pineapple.
Yeah, maybe take the rough edges off.
You might want to.
Or not,
Maybe-
if you're
maybe-
Simon Spunk Boy, you add
Yes.
some
Well, true.
and put
If
it
it was
onto
me-
some kind of crushing device. Anyway,
All right then.
there we go. Contact your
All right.
local greengrocer. Until next time, where we'll be talking even more Golden Lotus, because
Ooh,
we've got the bit between our teeth now, I think.
yeah.
I'm going to be sad when we run out of Golden Lotus films to watch, actually, because there's quite a variety, including one that isn't even a fucking gold. Yeah, if we decide to just watch anything and call it, then right. Until then, bye bye.
Yeah.